Well, the Epstein files saga rages on. This week, Bill and Hillary Clinton were subpoenaed to testify before the House Oversight Committee about Jeffrey Epstein and their relationship with the late Manhattan financier. Joining me to discuss this and so much more of the week's top stories is Fox News contributor Joe Concha. Joe, thanks so much for coming back on the U.S. Report. Love having you here. And want to talk about this week here. Suddenly we've got Bill Clinton's relationship with Epstein in the spotlight, as well as his own alleged interactions and things that may have happened on that island. Tell us a bit about this, because it seems like the needle has swung on this. Last week, everybody was talking about Trump, but of course now it's the Clintons.
Yeah, and again, I have no idea, and we have no idea who was actually involved here as far as the Epstein so-called list, right? So if you were associated with, with Jeffrey Epstein, okay, well, everybody was, right? Every celebrity, every politician seemed to have a connection with this guy, whether it be Donald Trump, whether it be Bill Clinton, whether it be like a host of other people. The question is, like, did you engage in pedophilia, right? And in the end, I would think, whether it's Clinton, whether it's Trump, that if this person, right, Jeffrey Epstein, had a list that definitively proved that you were involved with Jeffrey Epstein, well, it would have been leaked by now, right? It would have been weaponized. And I think that with Trump or with Clinton, in the end, Republicans or Democrats would have put forth that evidence to the media to hurt the other party. And I don't think either Trump or Clinton was involved here, because it would have been leaked already.
Well, look, that's absolutely right here, and I think people need to see Epstein as almost this weird sort of Gatsby-esque figure who had just all these weird interactions with high society for whatever reason. But meanwhile, we've got the House issuing these subpoenas around the list and to various people. What do you suppose they're looking to uncover?
I think in the end, they're trying to uncover something that hurts one party, Republican or Democrat, or the other. But in the end, I think that this is a non-story. I mean, I don't mean it's a non-story in terms of like what Epstein did. He's a monster, obviously exploited young girls. I have a daughter who's 11 years old. I couldn't even imagine, if I'm a parent, that this sort of thing happened with my daughter. But in the end, I think it's a political, it's a weapon. But I don't know if anything's there, because again, for years and years, this has been a story without a story, because I don't think Jeffrey Epstein, I think he had a Rolodex. I think he had a lot of people in that Rolodex, like you do, like we do, as far as being a celebrity. Do I think that he had a specific Rolodex for who, engaged in pedophilia? No, I just don't, because it would have been out there by now.
Look, I think that's probably right here, and I mean, it's all very tawdry, I suppose. But let's move on to some other sort of interesting stuff here, because you're in New Jersey, just across the river from New York, where this Zohran Mamdani character keeps on getting airtime, and now Democrat Senator Elizabeth Warren has said the quiet part out loud while campaigning for the socialist mayoral candidate. Have a listen to this.
If someone stands up and says, I will lead this city by making it more affordable, and here are my plans, real plans to deliver on childcare, plans to deliver on housing, plans to deliver, we're going to experiment, we're going to try things on groceries. That is the Democratic message.
Now, Joe, I couldn't help laugh when I saw this New York Post front page about the fake African-American and the Indian-American. But this whole idea of doing stuff, experimenting with groceries, that's pretty terrifying. Is this where the Democrats are going?
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, that's a campaign ad you just watched right there for any Republican, that if you embrace a candidate who is a communist, forget socialist, he's a communist, right? And he wants to basically bring grocery stores run by the government to New York City and thinks that's a good idea. Well, I don't know. I saw this movie in the Soviet Union, in Cuba, in Venezuela. It does not work. You cannot have the government controlling prices because, well, that's going to be a big problem based on what we saw in all of those countries. but he's going to be the next mayor of New York. I hate to say it. I used to live in New York City, but unless somebody drops out, whether it be Andrew Cuomo, whether it be Eric Adams, Curtis Sliwa, he right now is up by 20 points in terms of this race. And until somebody does something and drops out and makes it a binary choice, he will be the next mayor and will destroy whatever's left of New York City. That I do know.
As a former New Yorker myself, that's a terrifying thought. Finally, Joe, before I let you go here, there's a lot of talk about, AI these days, but I wanted to get your reaction as a broadcaster about this story, which I just found downright creepy. Former CNN host Jim Acosta gave an AI interview to an AI version or an avatar of a deceased victim of the Parkland massacre to push gun control. Look at this.
I would like to know what your solution would be for gun violence.
Great question. I believe in a mix of stronger gun control laws, mental health support, and community engagement. We need to create safe spaces for conversations and connections, making sure everyone feels seen and heard. It's about building a culture of kindness and understanding. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea.
Joe, this is the most creepy, weird, exploitative thing I have seen in a long, long time. What's your reaction?
It's sick. It's absolutely sick. Jim Acosta is by far, and this says a lot about American media, the biggest narcissist in this industry. When you interview the AI version of a kid who was murdered at Parkland, I mean, I spoke to a friend of mine who his daughter was at Parkland when that shooting happened and had to hide in a closet, and she survived. I said, "What do you think about this? Honestly?" And he goes, "It's the sickest thing I have ever seen. I just this is what American media is being exposed to being, whether it be Jim Acosta or Terry Moran or let's think John Harwood or Chuck Todd. All these people have been fired or let go from their media outlets, now are doing the podcast thing and doing this. You see exactly who they were all along. And for Jim Acosta to push a narrative around gun control, I guess, and interviewing a kid who was murdered, I have no reaction. I'm speechless over this because it's that sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is just, and if this is where AI is taking us, well, I mean, God help us. But finally, Joe, just got to ask you about this other story that's kicking around here. Adam Schiff, the congressman, very anti-Trump guy, he seems to be in a bit of trouble now. Sounds like he told a few fibs, potentially, allegedly, on his mortgage application. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So overall, again, probably the most anti-Trump guy who talks about ethics and honesty and doing the right thing. Well, the evidence appears to look like, and again, I say everybody is innocent until proven guilty. So let me see the evidence in a court of law that he lied on his mortgage application in terms of what he was earning and what in terms of getting an interest rate below a certain amount. I'm sorry, we've seen this before with other politicians, particularly Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York City, and now we're seeing it now with Adam Schiff. Let's see where the facts bring us. But in the end, boy, I can't believe a politician would lie. It's incredible. Go figure.
Joe, it's just shocking. What is the world coming to? Joe Concha, thank you so much for joining me here on the U.S. Report. See you next time.